What's up, guys? It's your boy the Iconic Knight. In today's video, you read the title, is all about how to fight like Floyd Money Mayweather. Now today we're going to focus on Floyd's style, and Floyd's style was primarily focused on defense first and offense second. And some key elements to his style were that it was 1, slow paced. 2, there was not much volume punching, so he would conserve his stamina over a 12-round fight. 3, Floyd loved sniping from the outside. And 4, which is the most important, he was a master at hitting and not getting hit. We're going to go over all those elements today, along with his offense, some tips and tricks and traps that he used to use against his opponents to dominate them in the ring. So first part we're going to focus on is Floyd's defense. Now, in analyzing Floyd's defense, there were a few things Floyd did defensively to solidify him as one of the GOATs in boxing. 1, he utilized the Philly shell guard, a high guard, and utilized footwork and head movement to avoid oncoming strikes. Now, to use the Philly shell, you want to just hold the right trigger when using a boxer who utilizes this style. Caleb Plant and Roy Jones Jr. are the 2 fighters in this game that you can currently choose who use the Philly shell guard. Now, holding the right trigger is going to be able to defend the jab and the right straight. While holding the right trigger, you can also choose to manually defend your right side from the left hook and your left side from the right hook. You could also choose to defend your body as you please as well. Now, this manual blocking is only going to be found in simulation mode, but if the Philly shell is something that you want to master, I would say practice it now, so when they implement the simulation mode in Undisputed, you're a step ahead of the game. Now, to utilize footwork in Undisputed, you want to make sure that you're never running back in a straight line. You want to make sure that you're taking an angle every time you move around. And when you are in this situation where you have 2 orthodox fighters, where your opponent's power hand is the rear right, you never want to move towards that power hand because it leaves you open for right hooks. It leaves you open for straights. You're basically walking into their power punch. Floyd was extremely technical and clinical in the way he did things, and he knew that walking towards this side was never good business. So he would always circle away from the opponent's power hand, and that would just drive them towards your power hand, and then you could let off that right hook, that right straight, and basically bait them into a trap. But again, never move on a straight line. You always want to move at an angle. Always at an angle. Always at an angle. That right hook, that right hand is always away from you. All you got to do is worry about that lead hand. And if you could defend that, you can get off a nice counter at the same time. Now, Floyd used to utilize a high guard when he would either be trapped in the corner or when he was up against the ropes. So he would use the Philly shell, but when there was an excessive amount of offense, the high guard would come out and he would protect pretty much every point of his body with this tight high guard that he used to have. So high guard right there. You can draw out your opponent's punches and make sure that they're draining their stamina, and that'll give you all the opportunity in the world to utilize counters and really attack that body after they're depleting their stamina. If someone is being really aggressive with volume in the pocket, make sure that you're utilizing that high guard mixed with some counters to really throw them off their game. Now, Floyd would also utilize head movement to make sure that he was avoiding opponent strikes. But after that head movement, he didn't want to stay in the pocket too long. He worked on escaping out of there after he would avoid these initial shots. So let's say someone throws a straight, Floyd would immediately back out of that pocket and gain some distance, get out of range, and make sure that he was fighting from that outside. He never wanted to stay in there too long unless he was baiting the opponent to exert themselves, and he would use that, Philly shell and really get that shoulder roll going so those shots would bounce off the defense. But when he utilized head movement, it was always to dodge, get out. Or he would utilize head movement to counter punch. His favorite counter was that pullback straight. So he would come back with a nice, quick, snappy straight, and that would really throw their opponent off the game. And he was just a master at frustrating the opponent, getting the opponent out of their mental space and into his game. He always said he wasn't playing checkers, he was playing chess. So use those skills, use those techniques to really frustrate your opponent, and make sure that you're not rushing things. Your end goal is to win. Floyd never rushed a finish. He never focused on the finish. If it came, it came. But he was focusing on winning the fight, and that meant every single second of that fight, he had to be perfect. So he utilized all those skills defensively to be just that. We're going to focus on Floyd's offense. There are a couple of offensive maneuvers and offensive techniques that Floyd loved to use to really just implement his game to the best of his ability. One of the best strikes that he loves to throw is that jab and body jab. So he had a killer snappy jab to the head and an even better jab to the body. This would stunt the opponent's movement, so anyone who was moving forward, he would disrupt them by throwing that jab and stopping them in their tracks. If they were moving forward, he would disrupt them with that body jab as well. Really make them walk into that power. Those were techniques that Floyd loved to use and used masterfully. Using your opponent's body weight to your advantage is just extremely smart, and he did it all the time. The technique Floyd used all the time was the lead straight escape. So he would bait the opponent to get in range, and then he would pop out with that lead straight and escape either behind them, or he would escape on the other side, step out, and create that distance again. That would really frustrate the opponent. He would come in with an incredible reaction time and speed and just really disgruntle them. Crack them, step out, and really create that range again so he could fight from the outside and snipe them with either jabs to the body. It was almost impossible to hit Floyd when he was utilizing these techniques. So to do so, you want to hold the left stick forward, hold the triangle button, hold R1 to escape either down or up, and then after the escape, make sure you click or flick that left stick backwards to step back and create that distance so you can create more angles and make sure that you're giving yourself that space to work. Now, another technique Floyd used to use all the time was that gazelle hook that he used to throw. Now, in this game, the only person that I know currently has this hook is Roy Jones from that southpaw position. So, to throw this hook, you don't just press circle, you want to move forward while pressing circle. And he's going to come out with that gazelle hook, that leaping hook right there. Floyd used to love that hook, and just like the lead straight, he would escape off of that hook as well, and then get out of there. He was very, he was more often than not a 1 or 2 shot fighter. He wanted to touch and go. He wanted to make sure that he hit you and got out of there as quickly as possible so he can avoid damage. And make sure that you escape off of that. The best way to use this is by baiting your opponent in, then escaping. You would bait your opponent in, then escape. Bait your opponent in, and escape. Again, you want to hold that left stick forward and then tap the circle button. And that's going to give you that gazelle hook. Now we're going to cover some tricks and traps that Floyd used to utilize in the ring. So one, he would draw punches for counters by dropping his guard within medium range. So he'd be here with the Philly shell, and once he got here, he would drop that guard, baiting that attack, hoping that someone would throw, maybe a straight, or a jab. He wanted to lean back and pop off that straight right. He wanted to come back with that straight right. And just like the lead straight that we discussed earlier, he's going to escape off of that shot as well after he got the counter. Now, another technique Floyd used to utilize a lot was he would draw in aggressive fighters into the corner and escape that corner with a check left hook. He perfectly used this on Ricky Hatton and knocked him out in their fight. So the way you do this is, as someone's moving forward, you want to move back and then step off. You want to hold up on the left stick along with that lead hook hand, and it's going to give you the check hook. So you'll draw the aggressive fighter in and then check left hook, gain that distance again. Now, another technique Floyd used to utilize was from the Philly shell guard. He would gain counters off of this position. So as the opponent threw either a jab or a straight, Floyd would return fire with a straight of his own, because the arm is already chambered for that punch. So after a straight, Floyd would come back with a straight of his own. After a jab, he'd come back with a straight of his own. You want to be able to utilize this. This is basically catching and shooting off that initial hit. So once you feel that hit touch your glove, you return fire. Once you feel the hit touch your glove, you return fire. And it can be mixed in with hooks as well. Cover additional offensive techniques that Floyd used to use. So the first one's going to be the jab to the body, hook to the head. The way you set this up is you want to make sure that you're giving your opponent patterns. They want to be able to recognize your movements. So throw the jab to the body a couple times in the midst of, like, you know, a round. You want to throw it pretty consistently. Make sure that they're recognizing, like, oh, okay, he's got an act for throwing this jab to the body. So next time you throw that jab to the body and they defend it, you're going to be able to come up high because those hands went low. So these are things that you want to show your opponent. You want to be able to develop patterns, and that'll open up shots for you in the future. Another technique Floyd utilized offensively was a jab straight, then he would post on the opponent and then repeat the combo. Now in this game you cannot post, but this is what it's going to look like. Jab straight, you want to jab straight, delay, jab straight. You could also jab straight, step, jab straight. You want to be able to give yourself like a breath, a little small beat of time to make sure that their defense comes down and you can hit them with that second combination if they defend the first. Right? So it's going to be jab straight, breathe, jab straight. Their hands are going to come down because they're going to want to counterattack or shoot off of that initial combo. So you can go jab straight, step, come back in, jab straight. Again, you cannot post in this game, so that's the closest thing that we can get to emulating that attack. Now, the final combination that Floyd used to utilize was a right hook to the body, a left hook, and a straight. So here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Body, head, head. In that flow. Okay, so now that we covered Floyd's defense, Floyd's offense, some tricks and traps that Floyd used to utilize, and some of Floyd's favorite combinations, we're going to spar the computer and see if we can utilize these skill sets and fight like Floyd. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. There's more to come. Make sure that you hit the notification bell so you know when I put out my next video. Thank you guys for watching. I love you. Jesus Christ loves you. God bless you all. I'll see you next time. Peace.